Hello, and welcome to the Last Movie Outpost Frequencies. On the Last Movie Outpost, where you grab all of your movie news, reviews, and everything cool about film after being away for, I want to say, about 18 months. It's been quite a while.
Yep.
We are back with a live stream. Hello, Yoda, my friend. How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic. I'm freshly divorced, and it's pretty much what ended this for a while. There was some other things, but I had to sell the house. You can clearly see this is not the same place I was before, and just I had to marry off one of the kids. You know what they say? You don't lose a daughter, you gain a son. It turns out they didn't tell you that he also moves in with you. I was like, wait, what? that wasn't in the contract.
At least you're marrying the kids off and not, selling them off.
Well, yeah, that would be a bad look considering my daughter is black and adopted.
Still rules against that over there.
Wow, we're canceled already? Jesus. No, they moved out about a month ago, and so I took the bedroom finally, and now I have a place to do this again. And I'm no longer have the crippling depression, so it's great. I'm ready to talk about movies. Oh wait, back to the crippling depression.
We've got our first comment from Madding. Holy guys, hi guys. I'll just shave it and get right back to the NC-17 comments.
We expect no less.
It is good to see you, Madding. Thank you very much for joining us. We will try and keep an eye on that. We are going to keep things a little bit shorter and sweeter this time round, so we're going to be talking about...
it's only 4 hours this time?
That's right, yeah. We're going to really sort of calm it down a little bit here. So let's get into our first subject. Mel Brooks. Let's turn that one up. Mel Brooks.
The big story with him is that he is not dead. I had no idea. I thought he had passed away a while ago, but apparently
he is doing very, very well.
And not only that, he's making a new Spaceballs movie.
Well, let's call up the details on that one a second.
I thought you had this up and running. Jesus Christ!
I'm looking through the website to show everybody what they're missing. Oh, that's the retro review of Spaceballs. Go back. It's that one.
You tell me to go back for it. You're the one got the controls. Listen to him yelling at me here like I'm the one scrolling through the shit. I'm holding coffee. Both my hands are up.
Right, let's do a search because it was quite a while ago. The problem is we do so many amazing articles at the Last Movie Outpost. It's difficult to keep up sometimes.
This is true.
So there we go. Yes,
I don't. I only do a few articles anymore, but the rest of the team does an amazing job. I just pay for things to make everybody look good. I'm the Tony Stark now. Even though we have a guy named Stark, I'm actually the real Stark.
Yeah, you're the real Tony. If you guys don't stop referring to me as Black Widow, I'm going to get them. So,
well, stop wearing the outfit, man. You look hot.
Hey, listen, what I do on my OnlyFans has got nothing to do with you. So yeah, Spaceballs 2. We did actually announce the news back last year that they said they were going to do it, but there is now a trailer online which we're not going to play because of copyright and so forth. What was your initial reaction to this?
My initial reaction is he's still fucking alive. I honest to God thought he passed away years ago. I didn't know.
It's one of those things that when people like that pass away, you go, are they? Oh, well, I thought that was. I
thought he'd gotten a long time ago. And it's like, well, in fact, I think his birthday was today or yesterday, so I think he turned 99. So this isn't going to come out till 27, right?
So there's a good chance he's not going to see it. But also, I mean, he's executive producing it, and apparently he's been writing the script with Josh Gad, who is somebody.
That's concerning.
But he's not directing it, but he has written it. I mean, the trailer, I don't know, did look kind of funny because they were taking the nick out of prequels and sequels and everything else that's sort of going on, in Hollywood at the moment with Star Wars and Marvel and everything else. But I just don't think Spaceballs is going to work now because of the climate that we live in.
It depends on how they do it. I think. I actually think there's a lot of parody there. The trailer I really liked because the trailer basically said since we released Spaceballs, there's been 47 Star Wars movies, a bunch of Avatars, a bunch of MCU movies, reboots and Trons. I mean, he went through the list of how ridiculous it's all become. I'm like, okay, that tells me that he understands the things that we're already bitching about, right?
Yeah.
And so if he is going to parody the franchise idea, I think there's a lot of opportunity for that. Now, like I say, he's almost 100 years old. I mean, the truth is, I like Spaceballs, partially from nostalgia, partially from.
Just to interject there, that when we did the review, myself and Porcino did the review of that, I actually found that quite a few people are not a fan of Spaceballs.
Well,
I love it. I think it's great.
Some of it is really silly, and some of the delivery of the dialogue, whether on purpose or not, is just it's so very comedy variety show. You know what I mean? It's like it's just too much. You know. Now, do a lot of the jokes land really, really well? Yes, but like when they try to be faux dramatic, oh my God, where are we? You know, that kind of stuff. And I know they're doing it for comedic effect, but it just comes across silly to me.
I think I'm going to say this, but I think all of Mel Brooks's movies are very kind of in that amateur way. You know, that with them they've got that kind of quite cheesy quality.
Not Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
Not Blazing Saddles manages to tread that line properly. And
also weirdly, the remake of Producers is not like that either, where the original was.
Yeah, but the like Blazing Saddles does a great job. Young Frankenstein does a great job. I just think as he got to his later years, he got more into that, like he was trying to do Naked Gun almost style spoofing, but in his own way. And and the mishmash came across as sometimes just a little too obvious. Now that being said, I mean, are some of the gags are fantastic. The Going Plaid, Ludicrous Speed, Dark Helmet, playing with his dollies.
The stunt that bit with Dark Helmet and the dolls is brilliant.
It's great. I think I never fail to laugh at the line. For some reason, it always surprises me, so it always gets me. But he's like, Ludicrous Speed, we've never gone that fast before. He's like, what's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken? And it nails me every time. It's such a great moment.
My favourite bit is just after that, where he's kind of, okay, did we come out of Ludicrous Speed?
That's a good one too.
He's completely lost the plot, obviously with the head trauma.
Smoke him if you got him.
Yeah. No, I like
Spaceballs. It's less than the sum of its parts, if that makes any sense. There are moments and gags that are absolutely fantastic. The Michigan J alien, hello my baby, hello my honey, that is brilliant. The couple of monkeys going, oh shit, Spaceballs, there goes the planet. In perfect King's English, and things like that. I mean, like all these little moments, but as a movie, as a strung together story, it's mid. It's not terrible. It's just it's not as good as it could be sometimes. I think when the story has to string it together, I think that's when it falters.
Just to interject there, Alex has just said, if one of you guys record an extra highway, you sound fine to me. Do I sound fine to you?
Yeah. Which one does he not? What does he not like?
I've got a little mini fan on because if I don't have it, I will melt like the Wicked Witch of the West.
It could be my PC. It's running a lot of fan stuff here because I got the PC right here and it's got several fans and shit in it.
Mine's quite away from the eye. Probably nostalgia, but Spaceballs is great. The German dubbed version is even greater. I don't speak German, but I imagine that's probably quite funny. But yeah, so In summing up, though, do you think Spaceballs 2 is going to work?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, Mel Brooks is making Spaceball 2. I mean, I hope that he actually calls it The Search for More Money. I think
you've gone very quiet.
Too quiet. Okay, how about that?
There we go.
All right. I was hoping maybe I could adjust it and remove the fan noise a little bit.
To be fair, just to let everybody know, we haven't been on this platform for like ages, and all of a sudden it's changed very, very much. So we are doing the best that we can.
I just turned on the remove background noise. How do I sound?
Much better.
Okay.
Yes, much, much better.
Okay. So I got to figure out what all the checkboxes and buttons are in this shit, guys. I don't know.
What does launch nuclear weapons mean?
Do it. Do it. Put an end to my pain.
It's all great now. There you go. So it's just
okay. Good. Yeah, all right. So
he sounds much better this time. So yes, sorry, carry on. So with Spaceballs 2.
Will it be any good? I mean, usually you can't catch lightning in a bottle, and quite frankly, Spaceballs was more of a, an LED flash than lightning. A really nice one. You have Mel Brooks on it. I think that they will try. Here's my worry about it. When you get a guy like Josh Gad, or you get some of these younger ones on it, it's going to have the same effect as these people working for Lucas on the prequels. It's like, it's Mel Brooks. He made Spaceballs, one of my favorite movies. We got to honor what's come before. And then it will be
bad if you don't know who Josh Gad is. We didn't either.
Well, I knew who he was. He was the guy that did. He was the guy that did the Frozen. He was in some Adam Sandler movies.
He did the voice of Olaf in Frozen.
Yeah, and I know he did during the COVID, he did a lot of reunites on Zoom with like Lord of the Rings and things like that.
He said, just to quote Gad, he said, everybody who's read it has been blown away. The process of working on this alongside Mel Brooks has been one of the highlights of my career. Yeah, I can imagine it's one of the highlights of your career.
Fair enough. The thing is that it's like they're going to treat it like we got to honor what's come before. I'm like, that's not what Spaceballs is about, dishonoring what came before, for Christ's sake. Yeah. Nobody gives a shit. It's just it was taking a piss out of Star Wars and every other sci-fi project out there, and that's fine. But
weirdly, it was taking the mickey, but at the same time, it was a loving homage. He wasn't.
Well, it wasn't being disrespectful.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like sucking its dick either. And that's my worry, because like all those guys working, you've seen the background footage, everything. All those guys working on the prequels for sucking George's dick, just coming out and go, oh my god, it's George Lucas. Everything he does, it's an amazing idea. Let's make Boba Fett a little fucking kid. Yeah, let's do that. That's awesome. It's amazing. And all the shit that he came up with, and nobody. It wasn't like when he went through it the first time, everybody said that's a dumb idea. Let's tune this up, and everybody was working together on it. So I have a feeling that could happen with this too. I think that's one of the biggest problems. And let's just talk legacy sequels in general. I think that's what one of the biggest problems of these things are. You get it becomes so ingrained in the pop culture, and everybody just has such almost reverence for it, which is dumb because it's a movie, that when they try to redo it, they don't see it for what it is, and then it just becomes it usually turns out to be a mess in one form or another.
I'm mildly optimistic about it, but like with anything these days, as we were saying before we went live, it's difficult to be excited about these things these days.
Yeah, that is a problem. The Hollywood of the last 10 years, really since Force Awakens, I think Ghostbusters 2016 really drove a stake into my enthusiasm, so to speak. And then I just started every year just getting more and more skeptical of shit that's coming out of Hollywood. And now, sadly, I'm getting, I don't know how to explain this. I listen to Critical Drinker. I'll listen to some of his the things that they do afterwards, right?
Yeah.
And they'll talk about oh, the wokeness or Midnight Sands. You'll talk about here's the woke and here's the girl boss, here's the MCU, and here's the message. And then their response is to own what, the libs, so to speak, own the woke. I'm like going, okay, after 8-9 years of this, I'm going, is anything are we going to start making anything that I get excited about? Because now I don't even care about the responses anymore. I don't care about the movies coming out.
The only things I get more excited about now is the fact that we get screeners for indie movies.
Yeah.
Because I'm finding them far more interesting than I am anything else at the moment.
Well, I'm stuck, I've been doing the Trek-ons, and we'll start talking about those in more depth starting next week. But the reason why I'm getting so embroiled in the Star Trek is because there are real stories here that I feel like those are real characters, like people that I could, that feel alive to me. And everything comes out now. None of it all feels corporate. It all feels packaged. Even if it doesn't have the message in it, it feels bland and corporate and just as uninvolving as possible. And then when it does have the message, then the only thing we have to talk about that gets any passion whatsoever is being against the message. I'm like, okay.
It's weird as well, because sometimes watching older movies, like even from the 80s and stuff, you've got girl bosses in there, but you didn't care. But now you notice it because it's kind of been sort of blown out of proportion. You're watching the movies from the 80s when you were a kid. Cynthia Rothrock, great. She was a girl and she kicked ass. Happy days. Whereas now you watch it and go, girl bossing, and everything. And it's turned you against even sort of some older things because you notice it more. I noticed how much diversity there was in movies of old. But
it was the whole point was to get everybody of every race in there and you not notice it, and they achieved that. So now they have to go back to making sure that you do notice it. Yeah. I'm like, well, what? I don't want to notice it. I was just watching a reaction to an episode of Star Trek Next Generation, and I won't go into all the details, but basically there's a moment where like most of the crew is on a planet, so only Beverly is captaining the ship with a bunch of guest stars. And it was something I'd never noticed before. I hadn't watched the episode in a while, but thanks to all this freaking woke nonsense, now I see it. I was like, oh my God, this was starting to happen back 30 years ago. And what happened was they had a female woman of color coming up. She had a blue shirt on, so she wasn't really a weapons officer. And then they got some of the background, the non-credited crewmen up. The regular people were still on the planet. And this white guy comes in, and he has that resting, smug white face. You know what I mean? Like they cast him clearly, specifically because his facial features just makes him look like an asshole. And he does nothing wrong in this. Nothing. Not one thing wrong in this. He doesn't call out he doesn't look at the black character like she's a problem or that she's in the way. He just takes his station because it's his normal station when Worf isn't there. And then she goes back and she's doing calculations, and then she starts questioning him, and he says, well, I'll just have to make sure my calculations are correct. And they make it look like that's like, what a smug asshole that he would say something like that to her. And then a little later on, she gets the same moment where she gets to say it back to him, and it's girl power moment. And Beverly makes sure that she says how good a job she did so that she can smile and feel like she's accomplished something. And this poor white guy's done nothing wrong except have a douche face, right? Yeah. That's it. That's his only crime in this entire episode. And what my point is that here it is 32 years later, 32 years later, I'm going, you are making me reevaluate shit that I just didn't care about back in the day. Yeah. Because of all this nonsense you've done the last decade. And I'm like, you're making me retroactively hate shit. Thank you.
Right. We are going to move on.
Please.
You do remember that I said I was going to put up a little banner across the bottom where we were running to 2 or 3 minutes? That was 8 minutes ago.
I got this thing full screen, so I may be not seeing the countdown timers. I apologize.
Let's talk about the new James Bond. So, first of all, we've got a new Bond director. Again, let me find this. Let's look at all these wonderful articles that people can read whilst they're on the bus or traveling to work, but obviously not driving. Where is this thing?
Who the hell are you shilling for? We got no corporate sponsors. But you can buy us a coffee or donate to us on PayPal, because that's really our only revenue right now.
So basically, there has been a new Bond director announced in the guise of Denis Villeneuve.
Dennis, French guy.
What do you make of this so far? I mean, Denis Villeneuve is known for things like Dune. Obviously, he is quite a big director. He's quite a precise director, is something I'm going to say. But what do you reckon to him being the new Bond director? Sorry, the new Bond director.
So, okay, two things. One, I don't think Denny's made a bad movie.
Yeah, true.
I don't think he's made a so-so movie. I think every one of his movies are good to great. Sicario is fantastic. I think Blade Runner 2049 was fantastic. The Dune duology is great. I even like The Arrival. I thought it was really good too. Really well done.
On rewatch, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So I think he, and given what he did with Sicario, I think he could make a very good Bond movie. So then the question becomes: do you like your Bond with a little bit more silliness, like Roger Moore?
Yeah.
Or even some of the Pierce Brosnans, the later ones anyway. Or do you like more like the Timothy Dalton, GoldenEye, even, or Daniel Craig, Roger Craig?
Right. Well, funny enough, Maddox is just sent there. Are you going to do this again? That one. There we go. I watched the original Blade Runner, I think is what you meant, on the TV 2 days ago, and the Blade Runner 2049 is seriously lacking. See, I don't think that. I think Blade Runner 2049 was pretty spot on. I think it captured it very, very well. I haven't seen it for a while, but I always remember. I've seen it 2 or 3 times, and I remember liking it a lot.
Well, it really 2049 delves into some interesting issues beyond just saying, "Hey, remember Blade Runner?" Yeah. The idea of the original Blade Runner was about what is human, who is, what is being a replicant, are you alive or not, right? You only got a 4-year lifespan, but did Batty is he more alive than the humans that are stuck on the planet, right? Yeah. That are just wandering around in their corporate sludge life, right? He's seen all these things, and they just went in these horrible cities where the only color they see is Coca-Cola signs, Yeah. So that was kind of the essence, at least in my opinion, of Blade Runner. And I think 2049 dives into that even deeper with the idea of AI. We got all these AI companions, AI girlfriends now, and he has that AI girlfriend.
We can get AI. Oh, hang on a minute. Sorry. My screen went funny. Are you saying we can get AI girlfriends?
Supposedly.
That's disgusting. Where?
Just play any downloadable game and you'll get 7,000 advertisements for one. Yeah. I promise you. You will have no problems finding one.
They've replaced the hot moms in my area.
Yeah. But he had that AI hologram girlfriend, right? And it seemed to like him. It seemed to love him. And then he has that moment where he's looking up at the billboard and it's just her, and it's, a reset version of her. And there's like questions about whether or not was it real or was it not? And I think people are still arguing that. And then that gets back to him. Is his existence real? Is his choices real, or are they pre-programmed and that kind of stuff? So yeah, I think the movie did a great job. I think there's an argument for saying maybe it was a little too long. But other than that, I think it was fantastic. So again, I go back to Denny. If he makes a serious Bond, I think he would do an amazing job. The question is, have we had enough serious Bond? I generally like I like the Timothy Dalton ones, and so when Casino Royale came out, it was like, oh, finally something that takes Bond a little seriously. This whole world a little seriously. This is great. But by the end of it, it felt like just a joyless slog, and
yeah.
they just got more and more depressing as she went on, and I'm going, Bond isn't even fun anymore. Yeah,
my life is miserable. If I wanted miserable, I'd stay at home.
Right.
I want to go to the cinema and experience excitement and adventure, through the eyes of this secret agent.
So, in conclusion, if you love a miserable Bond, Denny's your guy. If you want a Roger Moore fun Bond, I'm not convinced.
Manning's just said that he reckons that Dalton was the best. Which
I like Dalton a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I loved In Living Daylight.
Now,
License to Kill a little less, but it was okay. But I really love Living Daylights.
Moving on, though, so they have announced that they're going kind of like in a different direction, almost sort of down the route of, I don't want to say a prequel, but getting a younger actor who they can then count on for the next 10 years or so to hopefully be Bond. As it said there, that when Connery made his debut, he was 32, Lazenby was 29, Moore was 46, Dalton 41, and Brosnan 42, and Craig was 38. However, they're looking at going a little younger. For example, Tom Holland. He's 29. But that kid just looks like he's 12. I think he'll always look like he's 12. But yeah, if he were to do it, he'd be taking it so that he would be about 30 to 32 by the time of release. Thoughts on him?
I think he's a little too earnest, He makes a great Spider-Man. I think if that movie were worth a shit, he would have been a good Nathan Drake, whatever that.
Oh yeah, from Uncharted, yeah.
Uncharted. I never played the game, but I get the idea behind it. I think he would have been good, but I guess the movie sucked. I never bothered to see it. But yeah, I just think he has an earnestness, kind of a, Bond has to have that air of mystery about him, and there's something mysterious about Tom Holland.
Yeah, that's true. The other guy is Harry Dickinson. He's 29. He's been in things like Baby Girl with Nicole Kidman, Where the Crow Dogs Sing, which I haven't seen because I didn't fancy it. Triangle of Sadness I have seen, which I did like, and The Kingsman. I don't remember him in that.
Triangle of Sadness, is that the one where they're on that cruise ship but then it wrecks? Yeah.
I really liked it.
I did like it. I've only seen it the one time, but it was good.
Yeah. But I mean, Baby Girl I watched recently, and he played the male protagonist of kind of the, not a sugar daddy. He was looking for a sugar mummy in Nicole Kidman. Obviously, he's much older than him. I mean, I've seen the film. I couldn't really tell you much about it. He was in it, and that was about it. Sorry.
I honestly, I don't have enough memory of him to render an opinion on that one. Maybe going with an unknown might be a good idea, though.
Yeah. Everybody keeps saying like Idris Elba or Aaron Taylor Johnson, sort of like these big names. Yeah, going for somebody who's not so well known.
Henry Cavill is still on my list, but I doubt that he'll get it.
We'll come back to Henry in a minute, but the third name mentioned is Jacob Elordi, I think it is, appearing in Euphoria.
Elordi.
Stockholm is very good. Euphoria, I've not gone near. It's not my cup of tea. An Australian actor narrowly lost out to the role of Superman to David Corenswet. Is that
Corenswet? Yeah, I think so.
What a strange name.
His eyebrows are too thick. Moving on.
Never trust any eyebrows mates. They're werewolves.
Yeah, those. Somebody needs to get some raid. Johnson,
I think the problem with Henry Cavill is, don't get me wrong, I think he would make a great Bond, but I think Henry Cavill, how many times now has he gone into a role, given it his all, only to then have creative differences and leave, like with The Witcher and with Superman. Well, not Superman. I mean, that was kind of more of James Gunn's decision.
I know, the asshole keeps trying to keep the character true to its source material, and obviously that's just not going to work in Hollywood these days. No. He needs to be emasculated and look like an asshole, See Fantastic Four for details.
So yeah, with it, again, it's kind of, I can see that they're trying to take it in a different direction, but Bond, to me, is one of those movies that they should just put on hiatus for for a few years. They've made enough and everything else. Give it time to just sort of get it out of people's minds for a bit, and then look at carrying them on, as opposed to just forcing out a new one, because we've got to make more Bond films. We can't stop making them.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I mean, I don't know. Bond was able to do
2 minutes banner. I'm just saying.
I'll do whatever the fuck I want.
Excuse me, I'm in charge here.
No, you're not.
it is funny because I was thinking, I have missed these chats. Anyway, carry on.
I'm just saying, they don't have anything new. They keep recycling all these characters. Even if you left him for a while, he's had 30 movies or something like that.
Yeah, so
either they start redoing the actual novels and maybe putting a new spin on them properly, and maybe adding a through line through all of them. Although he never really had a through line. I don't think Fleming did. I haven't read them, but I don't know what to do. It's like either you guys got to start coming up with new shit, and you got to start being a little bit more. You got to take a few more risks.
Yeah, absolutely. They became very formulaic for a long time.
Everything has gotten so sanitized to corporate.
Dancing nudie girls over the credits, plot exposition, car chase, they became very formulaic for quite a while. And I think Craig, that first Casino Royale was kind of like no, this is good. We're quite happy. This could work. But then it just tailed off again, and they just became another churned out product.
Let me ask you a question, and then we can move on. Just in general, they were able. They started in 1962, and this went on probably pretty solidly through 2006. Let's say 2010. You could do this where you could extend it out forever. Do you think that part of the reason you could do this, especially early on, is because the movie would come out, and then what? You didn't see it. Once it's gone from theaters, it was gone. Maybe it got shown on TV. Maybe it got re-released in the theaters. Now it's just like content coming out of a fire hose in 8 million different ways, from video games to YouTube to movies to streaming to, even your old physical copies, everything else. Not to mention all the different ways that you can get yourself entertained. I just wonder if that they gotta stop. I think it's why they become so risk adverse and some nostalgic. It's the only way they can stick their head above water. But this is
you've also got
diminishing returns.
But you've also got so many different services which are offering so many different things, and they all want you to subscribe. And I think the other day I worked out, I think it's probably changed. I say the other day, it was probably a couple of years ago. But it's kind of, if you subscribe to every major streaming service, it's something in the region of like 100, 220 quid. The same in dollars. And you're thinking, but I'm paying for all that, but then I'm working to pay for that, so I haven't got time to watch anything. So you've got to pick and choose what you watch. So I understand they've got to stand out above the crowd and everything else, but at the same time, it is very difficult to do these days. It's very, like you say, back in the day, the movie came out, 6 months later the VHS came out that you could rent. After that you could buy it, and then it was on TV a couple of years later.
I just wonder what the economic. You can't just keep blowing $220 million on a movie anymore. They're not making enough money to even make their money back. So I don't know how they're going to. I'm wondering what the economic model is going to be moving forward. I don't see how it could continue.
On to F1 the movie. Now, how
long do I got to talk before you cut my ass off again? Okay. Can I actually enjoy this, or are you just gonna you just look at the clock the entire time?
I've been very, very polite with the whole thing, so don't give me that. Man, I've kind of missed you. So F1 the movie.
Is it me, or is he being an asshole? Please put your comments down below.
We are trying to stick to a schedule. I am just simply moving.
Where do you gotta go?
I haven't had dinner yet, actually.
Oh, gee, that's what's going on. You're hangry.
Right, listen. So, F1 the movie. This was the new film by John
Krasinski.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's not. That's Jim from The Office, isn't it?
No. I thought it was
It is Kowinski.
Kowinski. What a Kowinski dink.
Kowinski Dink, where it is, F1 the movie. So I saw it on when Joseph, not John, idiot. Joseph Kowinski.
Kosinski. Joseph Kosinski.
But this was a new movie from him. Now,
we're professionals.
Professional what? Is F1 the sequel to World War Z? No, it's not. No. If it was, there was very little zombies in it. But F1 the movie, I was kind of excited to see this.
Just in the theater audience. Clap now. Yay. Popcorn. Yay.
In other words, somebody's gone into the wrong screen and watched 28 years later going, there's an awful lot of zombies for this racing movie. This is very strange. Yeah. I went to see it on Wednesday because I was quite excited to, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to treat myself to the cinema. I don't go very often. And I was genuinely thoroughly blown away. It was thoroughly entertaining. It had quite gripping moments. I actually felt myself in my cinema seat going at some of the action that was going on, trying to avoid the crashes and stuff. And so far, I think Kosinski has done an amazing job. And I think he's he's one of those directors who I can actually look forward to his movies. We haven't talked about this, but what did you make of it?
I was watching what's his name? Dave Cullen.
Oh yeah.
And he said, and I think this kind of mirrored my opinion perfectly. I went in with a certain amount of expectations, and it met my expectations.
Okay.
Which means that I got a thoroughly entertaining movie that didn't surprise me or have. I knew where it was going. The only thing I wasn't clear on is who was going to win the race and why at the end. I could see it going either way. I was leaning towards. I'm not going to go to spoilers. I was leaning towards what happened.
Yeah, funny enough, I didn't know what was going to happen at all, but I was still, nicely satisfied by the end of the movie.
Yeah. So, but I was leaning towards what happened, and that's it. It happened kind of what I expected. He even had a line that I expected him to say. That all being said, okay, I got what I wanted, and I never got bored. I enjoyed it the whole time. Brad Pitt is Brad Pitt, which is absurdly charming and watchable and awesome.
Annoying. I mean, that man is just
he looks better than I do at 10 years older.
Yeah.
And Javier Bardem was great as the larger in life, racing owner, and Carrie Condon was she was wonderful, and it's kind of like Days of Thunder. Like every once in a while, we lost somebody. We lost him. Well, he'll come back when his internet comes back. Anyway, for those of you, are you back?
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're loud, but yes.
Oh, hang on. What is wrong with this?
That's better. The point is, just for all you watching and listening, it's executed flawlessly, just like Top Gun Maverick was executed flawlessly. Not a lot of surprises, but a hell of a lot of fun to watch. Putting the camera inside the car and having them actually part of the racing circuit really helps. So overall, I mean, it's well worth your time if you just want to go in and be entertained and have. It's not going to blow you away. It's not going to be a classic for the ages, but it's certainly going to be one of those that, one day it's going to end up. Go ahead.
I am still here, but this stupid thing's, I don't know why my camera suddenly, the light's on my camera, but it's just suddenly decided to pack in for some stupid reason. We're professionals. I'm just going to leave it off. There you go. You can see the little thing. Why have I got... I should have an avatar in there, and I haven't got that on. This has been so long since we've been on it. Right, anyway, you can hear me, but you can't see me.
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah. Like I say, I found myself thoroughly entertained by the whole thing. It was a little too long, and annoyingly, I said to you earlier that what I didn't do is I should have taken a small notebook with me to make notes about the film, because one thing I didn't put in my review, which is on the last movie Outpost, was how I identified with both the characters. I remember being the young upstart, knew everything, wanted to beat everything, blah, blah, blah. Tony Stank, who is speaking. It's me. Right? It's only the two of us. But I also identified with what's his name as well.
Look at Madding. I'm sorry, let me interrupt you, but Madding says entertain, no thanks. I'm like, what the hell else do you want out of a movie, man? If you're not entertained, what the point?
I think he's being sarcastic.
I hope so. I'm just happy to not be insulted and being told that I'm a bad person. You know what I mean? So, boy, he's having a hell of a time tonight, isn't he, folks? Anyway, I just it was great. It was a lot of fun. It's going to end up on TBS as one of those people just put it on, watch it, and just end up sitting down and watching it. And that's fine.
So crying out loud, I don't know what's wrong with this shit.
Yeah. Yes, I am, but not for the reasons you think, or for the reasons of Hollywood thinks.
Yeah, there's way much more worse than him not liking F1.
Yeah.
I
just don't want to incriminate myself right now.
Funny enough, I gave it 5 stars, and a few of the comments said, let me just read some of these. Looking forward to it, blah, 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 blah. There was somebody said, where is it? 5? What, like The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, or 7 Samurai? Come on. I gave it 5 stars, not in the same context of The Godfather and that kind of thing, and Jaws and so forth, but I gave it 5 stars in just modern cinema. You know, the last 5-star movie I gave to the cinema was Dune Part 1, which was, 2-3 years ago, odd. Apart from that, everything I've seen in the cinema, I've just not been massively entertained by. Whereas this, I actually came out and thought, I really enjoyed that. I genuinely really enjoyed every moment of that. But I am going to probably create a new star rating so that there's like 5-star gold, which can be used for things like Godfather and that kind of thing. But no, I thought, like I say, it was a 5-star movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Might end up being one of my favorites of the year so far.
Yeah, I mean, if it's one of those movies that perennially is on reruns on TBS, is what I was saying earlier. I'm like, and people will watch it. It'll kind of get like Days of Thunder or Top Gun or some of these. Are they? And what is a 5-star movie? I don't know. That's why I hate number ratings. Like, how the hell do you compare? How the hell do you compare The Iron Giant and Godfather? Right? Are they both 5-star movies? Yes, they are. Are they completely different?
I always hate the fact that when they put quotes from reviewers on movies sort of saying, this is the greatest film of all time, and it's like, yeah, in your opinion. Okay, and I don't know what your tastes are like. So, yes, you may have liked it, but I may hate it. So why bother sort of saying that? One thing I have found, just to go off on a little side point, on Facebook Shorts, there are people saying, this is the most scariest film I've ever seen. It's about a possessed car that moves around on its own. The movie, Herbie Goes Bananas, and it's like, oh, really? You're scared by that? And yeah,
I actually think he's got a point, but that's just me.
This demon-possessed car driving around by itself with the doors opening.
If you just change the soundtrack to that movie, it would have a whole different tone.
Like I say, overall, I found F1 the movie thoroughly enjoyable. It's a good movie. It is a little too long. You could take a good half an hour out of there and still have a solid film. Brad was great. The guy who
did you say Brad was gay?
No,
Brad
was what I was trying to say. Brad was.
You wish he was.
And Damson Idris, who was the young upstart, I thought was excellent. His first time I've seen
he was good.
Anything, he was fantastic. He really played that character that you got what he was trying to do. That he was trying to make a career for himself, and he didn't want to listen to this old art and everything else. But he slowly came around. The whole thing.
They both had an arc. I identified with it. I was entertained the whole way. The production values were fantastic. Putting the cameras inside the cars. I guess they were on the racing circuit, so when you show them next to the drivers, like doing
Yeah.
not the national anthem, but what the introductions and all that. That was the real race. So I mean, it's great,
Kerry Condon with that Irish accent. Oh,
adorable.
oh yeah, she was. It was one of those things that sometimes she was talking and I wasn't even listening to what she was saying. I was just thinking,
Yeah.
she is so lovely. What a lovely young lady. So
Overall, it was great.
Overall it was good. Okie doke. Let's talk about one of the greatest movies ever made. Not just one of the greatest shark movies, but just one of the greatest movies ever made. I'm just going to
Sharknado.
That's the one I kept comparing it to, just to be facetious. No, Hot Springs Shark Attack. That was an indie movie that I got sent, a Japanese movie. It was highly amusing. It was one of those films where it was utterly ludicrous all the way
It's
through.
a title alone is highly amusing.
But I kind of enjoyed it, which I make no apologies for. But here we go. So first of all, let's have a look at Stark's breakdown of the timeline of Jaws. So Jaws turned 50 last Friday, the 20th, was it? I actually sat down and watched it again, even though it's been one of those films I've watched, many, many times. So I don't know whether to delve into this or delve into why it works. Actually, do you know what? Let's delve into the why it works as well, as opposed to the timeline.
Yeah, I think everybody knows, or at least our incredible amount of 5 viewers know, the history of Jaws and all the problems that we had with the shark and everything.
But why does the movie still work today?
Well,
Madinx,
are you asking me, or
No. Sorry, Madink, leave this place, watch Jaws, and then come back. You are banned. And he said he is only joking. So
he's full of shit.
But yeah, this novel came out obviously by Richard D. Zanuck. No, they were the producers. I thought he was called Peter something. I'm sure it's called Peter Brown. As you can see, I've done all my homework on this.
Peter Benchley.
Thank you. And then they wanted to turn this into a movie, so they used this new, young and up and coming guy, Steven. How do you pronounce that? Spielberg.
Spielbergo. His Mexican counterpart. Senor Spielbergo.
Who, I mean, he made Sugarland Express, which I have seen, but it's not a huge.
It's okay.
But Jill is fantastic, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, Duel's great.
And so they got this guy to make this new Jaws movie. They chose the decision to shoot on Spielberg knew instinctively that the movie had to be made on location. Green screens weren't a thing back then, as opposed to nowadays. And so, where did he say it was? Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, like I say, Stark's investigation of this was fantastic. But it was all filmed. Oh, why can't I see it here now?
Martha's Vineyard. It was filmed at Martha's Vineyard Island.
Yeah. See, that's one of those places that I've heard of, but I've never it doesn't identify very well with me.
Martha's Vineyard, you don't have the credit rating to even set foot on the island.
Fair enough.
Neither do I, for that matter.
Everything was set in this wonderful, beautiful location, and it just everything like back with those movies when it was kind of you had Badlands is based on stealth Starkweather. Thank you, Mr. Wendell. The non-union Mexican equivalent.
Oh yes.
But everything back in those movies, like with the director of photography and everything else, everything was real. There wasn't all this fake green screen where actors are acting to nothing. Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Sorry. Thank you for that. Highlighting that. And the whole thing is visceral. The whole set of Martha's Vineyard was Amity, wasn't it? The island.
Yeah, I mean, Amity doesn't exist.
No. But what I mean is the whole thing existed in a real place. That
it did. Yeah, it was all in Martha's Vineyard. Yeah. Which I don't know. I mean, you're getting into a lot of the technical details, which I admit are important to a certain extent. You know, they add a layer of authenticity to the movie. But there's a lot of movies that have plenty of authenticity that don't have the staying power of Jaws, that don't have the classic part of Jaws. And in my opinion, the reason why is because it's not a shark movie. It starts out as a problem for a town, and bureaucracy and governments making stupid decisions and letting people get hurt. That could have been, you didn't inspect the elevators in the building properly, and now people are dead. We told you about it could have been something like that, right? And then the second part of the movie is a hunt, a safari, right? And it's really about those three characters bonding and their various backgrounds. You have Brody, kind of the go-between, the voice of reason between Hooper and Quint. Quint is the working man, the old guy, history.
Richard Dreyfuss was that very scientific kind of person. However, Quint was, no, everything's done by feel and touch. I know, I sense these things.
You mean Hooper?
Hooper, sorry.
Yeah.
No, Quint even.
I mean Hooper was a scientific guy. Quint was
Sorry, yes.
Brody was just fucking kill the goddamn shark. I want my kids to be able to swim again.
we need the beaches back. But the fact that you've got these two guys who were at loggerheads both on the set and off the set really, really worked as a trio of people. And you identify with all of them.
The execution, the acting is amazing, but the story is about the shark is I don't want to say incidental, but he is. It's not about the shark, and that's the mistake all the other movies make after that. Just every shark movie makes this mistake after that, is making it about the shark. Sharks are fucking boring. They eat. Hooper said it the best. They swim, they eat, and they make little sharks, and that's all they do. And it's like, that's not a character. It's just a force of nature. Yeah. So you got to make it about the other things, and nobody did it better than Jaws. Nobody understood it better than Spielberg, and I don't know why they can't figure it out, or maybe it's just not enough to figure out. Maybe it's a one and done, and that you'll never make a good shark movie again. Not really.
I mean, with it again, he was then limited with Bruce the Shark, that it didn't work. None of them kind of worked. But then that was like the happy accident that, if you do give away the monster too early or too quickly, it kind of spoils things. That's what worked about Alien. Alien had this thing, but you never actually kind of saw it until literally the last 10 minutes in all its glory. And the same with Jaws, not seeing the shark then made it worse because your imagination is far worse.
Yeah, I would say obviously the foundation is the themes, the stories, the two stories and the characters around them. I think that's the foundation. Everything you're talking about is, if you don't do it right, it will chip away at that foundation. And instead, they, if you're building a house, right? You have the foundation is the story and the characters. Everything else is, does it look good, right? Does it feel, and did you put in shitty water fixtures? You put in, brass, and everything they did, or every decision they made, even the things that didn't work, they did so well that it ended up becoming on top of that foundation was just perfection. Some of it happy accidents, some of it good casting, some of it, whatever reason, good direction, you name it.
You said about Spaceballs being kind of an LED in a bottle. This was lightning in a bottle. It was genuine lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, so many things had to go wrong for it to go right.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. And and you had that foundation, you had the amazing casting, you had the perfect actors, you had everything just worked. And it's like, I don't know how the guy stopped making shark movies, because you just can't. I don't see how you get better than it. I don't see how you can ever get better than it.
Whilst we've been having our deep and meaningful conversation about Jaws, Mannix and Mr. Wendell have been talking about Starkweather, which I've not heard of. Frighteners has a Starkweather plotline as well. The Frighteners, I do remember. I'm glad you guys are having a nice little conversation and a sort of little first date whilst me and Yoda are pouring our hearts out here.
Whatever keeps them on the stream, I don't give a fuck.
Aliens is still better. You see the xenomorphs everywhere. I don't know. Like I say, if you're making who is Charles Starkweather? Am I missing something here?
I have no idea.
Oh, right.
It must not be important. If we've never heard of it, it can't be anything worth a shit.
But yeah, it's true what you're saying, Mr. Wendell, that the aliens are kind of good, but in the original, hiding that alien and only getting flashes and glimpses of it just made it more terrifying.
This is the problem with comparing Alien and Aliens, right?
Yes.
Because Alien is Friday the 13th, right? It's a slasher movie, in essence. Final Girl, all that kind of stuff. It's a completely different movie than Aliens, which is almost a war movie. It's an action, it's like Predator or something. It's much more of an action movie. It's not a horror movie. So both of them just happen to use the same source material to make it work. The same character, same creature, all that kind of stuff, same universe. But they are completely different movies. And I think they're both excellent representations of their genre, with Alien being a perfect representation of the horror genre, especially the slasher genre, and Aliens being a perfect representation of the action war movie type, action genre, let's call it that. So I don't say, well, is one better than the other? It's like, this is where I get irritated by comparing movies, Mr.
Wendell is perfectly all right. He said he wanted to put a little tangent, but don't worry. I'm going to have to look up Badlands now because I'm kind of intrigued, which is fine. My ever-growing watch list. I just need it even longer. I can't tell you how many movies I've got in there at the moment. But has it?
Wait. Badlands with Charlie Sheen's asshole farther. You mean Martin?
Sheen, yeah, Martin Sheen. But he has also just said that Alien is a haunted house movie.
Yeah, you can put it there too.
It's an action movie.
Yeah, haunted house would work. I kind of put it more in the slasher genre because there's not a lot of supernatural stuff in it, so to speak.
No,
but I don't know. It's you can go either way.
Horror.
Yeah.
Okie doke. So basically, Jaws works because he's awesome. The end.
Yeah, John. I watched it in the theater a few years ago. I think we even talked about it.
Yeah, you did. I remember you saying.
Yeah, and it was like, it was the one I'd never seen in the theater. Now I do remember when it came out, but I was 5. And telling my mom, it's like, well, it's only rated PG. It'll be fine. They didn't fall for that shit. Do you believe that was rated PG? No wonder millennials and Gen Z are so fucking brittle,
I'm still going to tell the story of my dad had it on in our 8mm cinema that we had growing up. My dad had a copy of it, and he showed me when I was about 7 or 8, I suppose. The scene at end where Quint dies, Dad wanted me to not emotionally scar me with the horrific incident. He turned the bulb off on the projector, but let the film still run through with the sound. So my 7 or 8-year-old imagination was a million times worse than what was going on screen.
Did he not learn from what Spielberg had already established in that movie, which don't show it makes it worse?
Yeah. And so for years afterwards, I was scared of the bath, glasses of water, all that kind of thing. Water? No, there might be a shark in it. Yeah, so, and bless my dad, he did try to save me from that. But yeah, ultimately, Jaws, like I say, we just cannot beat it as a movie. Okie doke, we are going to. Yes, I have. I've run in 4K.
I haven't got the 4K. I haven't bought any physical media in a while.
There are certain films which you have to have in 4K, and that is
yeah. I do get them in 4K. I have Plex servers, so sometimes I'll get them, put them on my own equipment. But right now, I just don't have the room to have a lot of physical media.
Right.
I want the quality.
We are going to wrap up because we're going to keep it short and sweet. So that's been a nice hour. Firstly, thank you for everybody who's joined us. What it was is so nice. It's worth the upgrade. It feels just like the blue. To be fair, I've got an old CTR TV, so I'm still playing stuff with a SCAR lead. I'm really not.
Black and white TV.
Funny enough, I actually do have a video recorder kicking around here somewhere.
I haven't gotten rid of any of my physical media, Mr. Wendell. I just haven't bought new stuff because I'm in
No. Yeah, I completely agree.
A little townhome.
Yeah. But anyway, listen, falling asleep watching Murder, She Wrote. Wow. There's an admission. Watching Murder, She Wrote instead of us. God, yeah. But anyway, listen.
I don't blame him. We suck.
The live stream is now going to be back every Sunday at 6 p.m. UK time, 12 p.m. CST. And we're going to break them up so you can watch them sort of throughout the week and stuff. Please make sure you like and subscribe and share and tell everybody, because that's what everybody else says on YouTube. Yoda, any concluding words from you, my friend?
Nope, just come to lastmovieoutpost.com. Our Twitter is @movieoutpost. He's @BobaPhil. I'm @DrunkenYoda1. You can also reach us on Facebook at /lastmovieoutpost and Instagram at @lastmovieoutpost. Hey, just like the old days, I could rattle it off just like I used to. Thank God it's going down there in the banner and I can read it too. No, I did it all from memory.
We still say Twitter. That's how old and
that's right. We probably should change it and say X.
Yeah. One thing we are doing, just to mention this, on the Last Movie Outpost, we are dealing now with more independent movies. And so far, some of them are absolutely cracking. So there's a whole link on the page. Let me just bring that up a minute. Oh, no, not remove, you stupid boy. Add to stage. There we go. If you go to the Last Movie Outpost indie page, I've been reviewing some really interesting movies. Did an interview with a guy called Matty Hannon, who's got a movie out at the moment. It was fantastic. There's 3 reviews going up tomorrow. And so, like I say, yeah, there's quite a few independent movies, which we're finding is a lot more interesting. That review 2-1 was an absolutely belting movie. So was Ugly Stepsister. So with it, like I say, make sure you check out the Last Movie Outpost for all of your movie news, reviews, and everything all about film. Thank you, everybody.
Well, Phil, can I throw out one more thing?
Go on.
You've been nailing it with the interviews, and there's a lot of interviews, especially the last Starfighter, where you got Mary Stuart Masterson and Lance Guest. So well done with that. Catherine Mary Stewart. When I say Mary Stewart,
yeah.
I am old. Catherine Mary Stewart, my bad. But in any case, you've been hitting interviews left and right, and if there's somebody out there who would like to be interviewed for our little site, please come in. But they've been quality, and as much shit as I give you, to get some kudos for that one.
But no, with them, I have been thoroughly enjoying them. Chatting to some people has been fantastic, and we've got hopefully some bigger names coming up. I don't like to say anything, so I don't like to jinx it. We were hopefully looking to talk to Danny Houston, who was in Wolverine and was in Wonder Woman. But unfortunately, apparently we're not a big enough outlet.
Yeah.
So it didn't happen.
We suck.
Yeah. That's basically effectively what they said. But with it, can you lot stop swearing on the chat, please, and thank you. But with it, like I say, yeah, we've been getting some good interviews and we're chasing more up. And so, happy days. But make sure you check the Last Movie Outpost, because like I say, there is movie news and reviews and interviews every single day. Other than that, thank you very much. And we will see you. How do I change this again? Oh, it's over here, isn't it? Yes, we will see you next week.
Yep. Thanks a lot. And you guys have a good rest of the week. Remember, just come out and read our articles. We've got more coming.